People like to be the first to post on our chat. Okay. Well, since the 1970s, this is the first time that we've had lunar rocks return to Earth from the moon. So we'll see. I guess they received the Chang'e 5 lander, and it's supposed to be full of moon rocks. So we'll see what happens. It'll be cool. And since I failed to run the clock, I think I'll go ahead and start the program. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, here we go. Wow. Well, hello everybody. This is Scott Roberts and Jerry Hubbell here, and this is the OpenGOTO Community Live. Pretty cool video. Actually kind of a spacey video, if I could say that, with all this
Yeah.
electronic kind of music and everything. But amazing views from European Space Agency. So very excellent. I was kind of reading the forum a little bit, and it looks like Norm Hughes had his camera took a lightning hit, maybe.
Oh,
Uh,
really? Hmm.
Norm, if you're at all interested, we do have people here that built, astro cameras before, and maybe we could give you an estimate or something if you want to give it a try. So, um, anyhow, we we've had a kind of interesting week. We've had, um, you know, recently had that total eclipse that was on Monday. Was able to show some of the videos from that. That was kind of cool. People looking at the eclipse and getting lucky by seeing a sucker hole through the clouds. So
Yeah.
that was pretty awesome. Lots and lots of cloud cover in Chile and Argentina during that time. Um, there was a few places in Argentina that did get it. Chile was almost a total cloud out, so that sometimes can happen during an eclipse. So that's when we get ready for this 2024 eclipse, you're going to want to really look at what's called the fractional cloud pattern, and there's websites that show that and give you historical data of fractional cloud cover over certain regions. So I think I'll be heading down for Texas during that time. And then in 2023, we got that annular eclipse, which will also be very cool.
Hmm.
Uh, Nothing replaces us seeing a total eclipse. That
No, it's not the same.
not the same, not the same. So, um, but today we don't have Tyler Bowman because I had him come on the show yesterday to kind of update us on the astrophotography contest. There's some people out there that haven't entered, so we encourage you to do so. There's some cool prizes. I also mentioned to you yesterday that the Astronomical League will have an astrophotography contest. And I think maybe this year they've already made selections. I'm not sure of that. I'll find out later tonight. I'll have a meeting with the Astronomical League, and I can follow up and give you guys some details on what they're ready to announce. And that's about what I have for today. It's been a quiet day today. We have been. I say quiet. I mean it's been super busy. But I think the big hump day here was on the 12th, and that was kind of the last day that UPS and FedEx said that they would be able to deliver product if it was picked up by the 12th to have it there by Christmas. Now
Hmm.
people are doing second day air and next day air shipments and stuff like that. So there's a lot of running around and scrambling around to get out those products.
You have an idea how long that's going to last? I mean, if it's second
Pretty
day air,
much.
I wouldn't expect it on the second
Oh
day.
no, 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 no. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think Explore Scientific's going to be able to get any money back for not delivering on time. But who knows? Who knows? I mean, I still get packages every day, so UPS and FedEx are delivering billions of packages this year. So it's
Hmm.
they're probably delivering 10 times more than they ever delivered ever. And that may be an exaggeration, but it is many times more than what they're used to. Um,
Yep.
so anyhow, and then the other thing we're getting ready for is the December 21st Great Conjunction. And so
5 days from now.
I know. We have confirmed Alain Maury from the Atacama Desert in Chile. We've got he's getting a long focal length refractor, I think, or a long focal length scope ready for that of some sort. Christopher Go in the Philippines will be on. Gary Palmer is trying to decide whether or not the weather's going to be good enough for him. Of course, all of this is co-sponsored by or co-hosted by the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. So we are going to try to be on through like a maybe 20-hour stretch or something like that. Not continuously. We're going to
Hmm.
break it up as we go along. But Mike Simmons is looking for participants in the Middle East. So I think that kind of puts me like maybe at the midnight 1 a.m. time frame possibly. And then we've got Philippines coming up. So I'll be up again at about 4 a.m. Because Christopher will be imaging at 5 p.m. his time, and that's a 12-hour difference. Then we've got the Europe that may be coming on, and then we have and then the Americas. So
There's a short window of time to do each of these locations because the sun's right at sunset
it's right at sunset. So
and it's
you
low in
are
the
going to be,
south.
yeah. They're going to try. Did you try, Jerry? Did you try imaging Saturn in the daytime?
Yeah, I did. I didn't get very far. I didn't I just got a few days to try it again. The weather, of course, has snowed today, or not snowed, it sleeted today where I'm at in Virginia, but the big snowstorm came up north, or nor'easters
Mm-hmm.
going on. So tomorrow, I don't think tomorrow's going to be good. Saturday, Friday might be good to try it. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. We're going to set up a few telescopes out here. I think some people have indicated they wanted to go someplace to try to see it. And apparently, according to Dan Scoff, he says we're going to be seeing some good weather. So,
Oh, good.
but let me recognize some of the people that are on with us tonight. I mentioned Norm Hughes earlier. James, the astrophotographer, is with us. Book Davies, Andrea Villarreal was on for a little while but had to go. I already mentioned Book Davies. We have Michael Whitaker, and we got Aaron Thompson and R.R. Dipto. He says, love from Bangladesh. Well, that's great. Thanks for watching. Mike Wiesner. Mike said he received a small box from Explore Scientific today. Haven't opened it, but it should be the Action Sports camera. Okay, just make sure it's not ticking, Mike. Let's see. Norm Hughes, Jeff Wise, and who else? Bergman Scooter, of course. And Dale Beasley. And who else? Mike Overacker. He said he received a gift
Oh,
today from his family, a ZWO ASI 183 MC Pro. I'm beyond grateful for their kindness. That's great. They must like you. Um, oh,
or they shipped it to the wrong place, right?
yeah. Check the address. What? That's right. Oh, no, we're just teasing. And I mentioned Norm fried his ASI camera. Um, lots of funny little jokes here. Aaron says, I find it fascinating how small and large systems can have the same apparent properties and act like fractals of one another. Okay. I assume you're talking about galactic systems or something. Marco Polo says he's about to go outside and make another attempt at finding Jupiter in the daytime. Should be easy, Marco. You should be able to see it naked eye if you know right where you're looking at a certain time of the night or evening.
Yeah.
Not night, but as it gets darker. And that looks like about it. That's Richard Lighthill's on. He says hello, Scott and Jerry, hello. Karen Brown, Kevin Brown.
If you've got a good pair of binoculars and you can scan the southern sky, you can
So I
find
do.
it.
Yeah, if you guys don't have binoculars, you definitely should have a nice pair of binoculars. You know, it's just a great tool for
Yeah,
astronomy, you know?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Norm Hughes, I guess, is going to let Explore Scientific tinker with it. He says, I mean, it's broke now, so no loss if it can't be fixed. That's true. You know, if it's just some chip that we can find, um, you know, and that the sensor's not burned up or something, then we'll be fine. Aaron Stewart says I'm getting my people fired up for the conjunction. That's good. Any of you that want to try to join in with us on the live programming, you want to try to image it and share what you're imaging, you need to get in touch with us. You can contact myself at s@explorescientific.com, or you can reach out to Steve Malia at Ontario Telescope. You can just go to his website and reach out to Steve, and he's one of the main guys that's interfacing for the RASC.
He used to be
Richard,
president of that group, right?
he was. That's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Richard Lighthill wants to know, will there be another astrophotography contest next year? You can bet there will be, for sure. And any other comments here? Marco says forecast is looking good for him. But he says, I'm able to get the planets at twilight, no problem, just having trouble finding them in the daytime. Binoculars.
Yeah, if it's possible to set your telescope up early and get it lined up, and you know it points pretty well, then you should be able to at least get your finder. Everybody's got to have a good finder scope, probably too. If they well, there's the zero powered finders that most people use. The red dot finders are nice,
Yeah.
just for looking at night sky objects. But if you're trying to find a planet in the daytime or an hour before sunset, whatever, then you need a like a little telescope finder, not just a zero power
Yeah.
finder to really do
Something with
that.
some light gathering power. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We sell those too.
That's true. We do. If there's any still left in
If there's any
stock.
still left, right?
Oh my God, you know, so uh, can you pull up your star map to show where the moon is in relation to Jupiter and
Yeah.
Saturn tonight?
Yeah. Actually, I've got it running already. Let
Yeah,
me.
and Bergman wants to know any ideas when I'm receiving the 152 carbon fiber telescopes back in. We did receive a couple of containers recently, so I'm not sure what came in on them, but we received those yesterday. So, Marco, send an email over to Kent at explorescientific.com to get an update on that. Otherwise, I'll have Ken on tomorrow and we'll go over what's in stock.
You see the
Yeah,
chart?
yeah,
I think that's the current. This is for my location now. So
sure.
here's. Let's see if the moon's way down here.
Oh, yeah. But there's Saturn right above the moon and Jupiter.
Yeah,
Look at
so
that.
there it
That's
is
pretty.
right there.
That's gonna be beautiful. You should take a. You guys should shoot this tonight. Okay, try to get the moon and Jupiter and Saturn. That's cool.
Let's see what it looks like tomorrow night. Let me go forward a day. Oops. Let me go forward one day. I may have to find the moon again, increment time. So I'm going to go forward one day for tomorrow. Oh, all All right, let's see where the
Bethel
moon is now.
Douglas Barrett says, I leave the cap on the scope. I use my iPhone Skyphone app or Skyview app and find Jupiter. Place phone flat against the scope cap and use visual sound beep to align scope to Jupiter. Huh.
So you can see the moon has moved past Jupiter and Saturn are down here.
Oh, yeah. That's tomorrow?
This is tomorrow at this time.
Yeah.
So let me go back one day and you can see the moon. So this is the closest the moon's going to be to Jupiter and Saturn today, but it's let's see what the phase is right here. Let's zoom up
Mm-hmm.
on it.
Marco's
It's
saying it's
very,
a very wide field with the moon tonight. I couldn't even fit the tree on my 300 millimeter. Yeah, you may have
it's
to step down to like something wide, really wide angle, but
it's like a 1 day old moon right now.
oh wow, that'll be beautiful.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And it looks like they're about, what is that?
How many
They're
degrees
only
apart?
about 8 degrees, maybe
Yeah.
7, 8 degrees apart right
Mm-hmm.
now. So yeah, you could take a nice, if you had a 200 millimeter lens on a DSLR, you might be able to get pretty close and get the full, I don't know, maybe 300 millimeter would fill the frame between the planets and the moon.
Yeah, Marco says 300 wouldn't work. So,
No, maybe 200.
but I'm thinking about taking that giant 30 millimeter, 100-degree, 3-inch eyepiece and attaching it with the 3-inch diagonal with a 2-inch adapter to my 80 millimeter, which I actually did one time. It gets like this huge field of view, you
Does a
know?
vignette? Does
Nope, doesn't
the
been
image
yet.
circle's big enough for it? That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. Of course, it's very back heavy, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, you actually have to hold it. The eyepiece weighs as much as the telescope does, so
Yeah, so that's a good view tonight.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty.
And right now it's what time is it? 7. It's past the sunset. Um, Probably about half an hour, 40 minutes past sunset, and the current altitude is 12 degrees for the moon and 17, 18 degrees for Jupiter and Saturn. So
Yeah,
it's pretty low in the sky. You have to get up on a clear horizon to see it.
yeah. Even with a 30 millimeter, 100-degree eyepiece, it's the widest field of view, or the true field of view is 6.25 degrees true field. So if it's
Yeah.
8, it still wouldn't fit. Mike says it's going to be 5 degrees apart for him this evening in Arizona. We'll be imaging with his 150 to 600 millimeter telephoto.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, anyhow. So let's transition a little bit and get to your next segment of the mentor training.
Okay.
Okay.
So we left off yesterday. Let me find my. Mm-hmm.
And you're still like in black and white television days.
Yeah, I'm feeling retro today.
Yeah.
What am I? Let's see. Trying to find my PDF file viewer, Adobe Acrobat, and then I can share it.
Right.
There it is. All right. So I've been skipping around in this section a little bit. We went through some planetary programs last time, this Carte de Ciel sky chart. I want to talk a little bit astronomical amounts, but also already have talked some about this next section, Actually, not the manual, the computer navigation. I kind of skipped over to section 11 last time to demonstrate a little bit of that with the Mark Slade Remote Observatory. Let's see. So to get more into mounts, actually, there's two basic types of mounts. There's Altaz and there's equatorial mounts. And there's there's at least two types of Altaz mounts. There's a standard Altaz that has the manual controls on it, like you've seen with little refractors.
Mm-hmm.
That are tip tilt type, as Altaz mount.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're called tip
Tilt
tilt.
and pan, like that's what
Tilt and pan,
photographers
yeah.
call it. Yeah.
Tilt tilt pan. And there's also the Dobsonian style of mount, which is similar. It's azimuth altitude, but it pivots on the rear end of the scope where the main objective is, and the top end moves all around the sky, or moves all around for you to look at objects in the sky. So those are the two types of Altaz mounts that you'll run into as a beginner for small telescopes and large telescopes. Typically, if you're into deep sky, you'll get a Dobsonian telescope, 6 or 8 inches maybe starting out, and or you could end up, if you're into planetary, you could get a long focal length refractor that's small, 3-inch, 80 millimeter. That's really nice. 70 millimeters is good too. The other type of mount for doing imaging, if you want to do imaging, you need an equatorial style of mount to make it simpler to track the sky, to track the stars. And the German equatorial mount is one of the most common mounts you'll see out there for sale. But the other more common mount is the fork mount that comes with typically Schmidt-Cassegrains have fork mounts. And
if the telescope is short enough, it's nice because
yeah,
you don't have a meridian flip issue,
right. So that's one of the things you don't deal with. The German equatorial mount is called a meridian flip.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
But if you got a refractor, there's no getting around it. You're not going to put a refractor in a fork mount. So
Right. Let me. I'm going to unshare and reshare here in a second. I want to bring up. I like to find pictures of these different types of mounts. So I'll start sharing here in a second. I'm going to just bring up pictures of these different mounts for people to see. And then just my search tool. So let me reshare.
Marco just found Jupiter in his 70 millimeter finder scope.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, the first type of mount. I ought to bring up our own page because we have these types of mounts.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna cheat.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so you'll see all kinds of different German equatorial mounts
There
out
you
here.
go.
And let me zoom
Yes,
up.
we make them too.
Yeah, we make these mounts. So all these different manufacturers have them, and I don't know if there's anyone that show how they move around. So basically, what happens is on a German equatorial mount, this axis right here, like on this Meade, where the Meade name is, that's the right ascension axis. This points to the north celestial pole or the south celestial pole. And this is the axis that keeps you aligned with the Earth, so that you only have to move in you only have to rotate this axis to keep on a star. The other axis is called the declination axis, and that's constant for any star that you look at in the sky, and all you have to do is rotate it around the RA axis to keep the star in the eyepiece or the object, whatever it is you're looking at. The other type of mount, the Dobsonian mount.
Yeah.
And there's different ways of mounting it. So some of them, depending on how much how big it is, you'll see that some of them, they have two-piece construction. It's called a rocker box, typically, and the telescope. So like in this first picture here on the left, you see the rocker box, which allows the telescope to rotate in altitude on the out, and then it rotates in azimuth around this base. It rotates around. But the smaller telescopes, the telescope mounts into the rocker box somewhere in the middle of the scope. It's not on the end. It's in the middle because of the weight balance, to balance the weight.
Yeah.
But on larger telescopes, you'll see that they get further down, like this one. See how the main objective is down at the rocker box compared to this one?
Right.
So the larger the mirror, the heavier the scope, the further down the side of the scope that the rocker
Right.
box is
And that
attached
mirror
to.
gets heavier and heavier.
It gets heavier and heavier, so it balances even with it that short of a distance. And it becomes an issue when you get larger scopes too, because as you move down in the scope, this eyepiece becomes higher and higher, and you
Right.
got to get a ladder to crawl up on. So, for example, look over here on the right-hand side. You can see that's a big telescope. You can see how. I don't
Like
know if there's
our
any.
the 20-inch f3.6, which
Yeah, here's an extreme one right here.
oh yeah, look at that. Oh my God.
Think of the ladder you have to crawl
You
up
fall
there,
off that ladder, you're dead.
right?
42-inch Dobsonian. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
that's kind of cool.
crazy.
Hmm So I guess this is the
I
ladder
would
that
want
you
like some
use.
sort of harness in case I fell off.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to hook your harness to something that's secure, which means the top of the telescope. I'm not sure how secure the top of the telescope would be if the ladder fell,
Yeah.
because it would just rotate down. So you can see, and who is our guest? I'm just can't remember his name now.
Hmm?
Who builds
Norman
the
Fulham?
large
He's
Norman?
doing
Norman, yeah, he builds
yeah.
beautiful telescopes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
one of them right there.
where is it at? Oh, this one right here.
That one right there.
Yep, that's his.
Yeah.
Got that
He's
half
got that.
moon.
Yeah, that's his signature bearing.
I was gonna bring up. There they are. There's Norman.
Yeah, look at all those. And now he makes these giant monster telescopes.
Right. Oh yeah. So Matt, it's amazing that he's developed
Yeah,
that
there's one of
technology.
them right there. See
Yeah,
the
over here on the right hand side.
yeah. Look at that.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Dobsonian. And Jim, let's do out as oh, so this is a basic Altaz mount. This is this one is more traditional. Let's see if we can find a really old school. Oh, there's our Twilight 2 mount.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I guess they don't make. I guess this is the traditional
Just a yoke
Altaz.
mount. Oh yeah, with the
They don't show the yoke one. Yeah, there's a little yoke mount that's really inexpensive. I don't see any on here.
yeah, they're not made. I mean, you'll see them on
Oh,
inexpensive.
here it is, right here.
There you go.
That's a yoke Altaz mount. That's a really inexpensive mount.
All right.
And I guess you have to really to try to reach zenith. It gets a little difficult. You have to turn it a certain way to reach zenith because it doesn't. You see it offsets from the center of rotation
Yeah, you
off a
have to
little
go
bit.
between two open
Two-
tripod legs to go
Right.
reach zenith. So it's not,
So, but this is very intuitive to use. I mean,
yeah, you're just grabbing the scope and moving it.
moving it, and it's just like you standing there. You look up and over. That's what exactly how the telescope works. You look up and over, and
Yeah. And
it
that's why the
yep,
Dobsonian mount design is also so popular.
yeah.
People just learning how to get started. I can't tell you how many people this year that came in and as beginners, I mean, rank beginners, thinking that they were going to buy a small 60 or 70 millimeter refractor and ended up walking out with a 10-inch Dobsonian,
Oh
so
yeah.
uh, people just don't realize that the more aperture that you have, the easier it is to find hard to see faint objects, and
Oh yeah.
they don't realize how smooth and vibration free the mount is and how sturdy it is, and so you start getting all those things working for you. And now as a beginner, you're much more empowered, to really get into astronomy, so
Yes. Yes.
um, but not everybody can spend hundreds of dollars or $1,000 on a telescope, so
Right. And you want to get started somewhere,
and you want
so
to get started somewhere. So if you got to get started with the 60 millimeter refractor, get started with the 60 millimeter
I
refractor.
spent I spent years in my teenage years using a simple 70 millimeter refractor, and you can do a lot with it.
You can do a lot. You can see, if you're under dark skies. I used a 70 millimeter at Texas Star Party, just one of our National Geographic 70 millimeter refractors, and we observed with a very nice view of M51 with it. So,
That's cool.
and a lot of the people there with big Dobbs and stuff, they just said they just couldn't believe it. They're going, you can't see anything with a small telescope like that. I said, oh yeah, look at this. So you put nice eyepieces on it, and you can
And
do great
it's up
things
to the
with it.
skill. It's the skill and knowledge of the user to make the most out of these instruments.
It's true. It's true.
And so this is a fork mount. This is a Meade fork mount, this big huge one. And again, this axis right here, where the uh, mount rotates, is the right ascension axis that points to the north celestial pole. Now it's a different configuration than a gem, because when a gem is parked to the home position, or telescope mount is parked to the home position, the telescope points at the north celestial pole along this axis right here. It's parallel to the right ascension axis. But on a fork mount, the typical, I think the typical park position is at the zenith. If you rotate, this is one of the difficult things about a fork mount. If there's not enough space, if you rotate this telescope to point at the north celestial pole, it comes down. This rotates down this way into this area. And sometimes if your image train or if your equipment down on the back end of the scope is too long, you can't get it to point to the north celestial pole. That's one of the things you have to think about. But it can be done with normal eyepieces. If you just use it visually, you can point out, you can rotate the eyepiece around and stand on the backside of the mount
Hmm.
like this and look down into the eyepiece here and look at the north celestial pole. But as you can see, I didn't talk about how the gem has the counterweight system on it. We can go back and look at that in a minute. But this can rotate anywhere in the sky around this, 180 degrees in RA. You don't have to. You can just continuously point to an object the whole time. It'll track it across the sky.
Hmm.
A gem mount isn't like that. A German equatorial mount is such that you have to flip sides on a pier. And I actually let me unshare for a second. I've got a good diagram of that in my book. Actually, I want to share that drawing. If I can find it. That's the only thing. I've got it right here. Oh, there it is. All right. All right, I'm going to share this. This is a drawing that my daughter made for my book, my first book.
Oh, yeah?
Pretty cool drawing. Where's the damn? I've lost the zoom. There it is. Got so much crap.
Hmm?
I got so much stuff I'm doing. All right, here we go. So I want her to make drawings for my book that look kind of like patent drawings.
Yeah.
She made this that demonstrates how the telescope rotates in RA, and then how you have to flip to the other side. You have to turn the scope around to point. So once you get the counterweight, see the red, the counterweight's up way high.
Yeah.
That's actually too high. You don't want to observe this direction like that. You want to flip it around to the other
Right, you don't
side,
want the
and
counterweight up higher
you don't
than.
want you don't want the counterweight up higher than the telescope, right? At the horizontal point is where the meridian. That's where you're pointing on the meridian,
Yeah.
and you do a flip, and so you go from this west side pointing east to the east side pointing west. So this point right here, where the telescope's pointing along this axis, that's similar to this right here, with the opposite
Mhm.
on the opposite pier side. So that's how a German equatorial mount does a pier flip. That it's pretty
Right.
straightforward.
Yeah. There's one other mount I don't think you showed was a English yoke
Oh
mount.
yeah, let me bring that up. Let me
That's a that's not used very much anymore. Um,
right.
but the English yoke is what the 100-inch Mount Wilson telescope is mounted in.
Yes. All right. So I'm gonna type it in here.
There you go.
There it is, right there.
Yeah. So that whole thing gets polar aligned.
It's like having two yokes back to back, kind of. I mean, two fork mounts. So if you just take this piece of it right here, that's a fork mount right here with this axis right here. That piece is a fork mount, and then it's extended up to the top. So you got two pivot points instead of just one pivot point on the RA axis,
Yeah.
with like a German equatorial mount one axis. So this gives you an idea also. This is a good drawing here.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very stable mount.
I've seen amateur astronomers build English yoke designs, you know, back when
This
people
one,
used to build more of their own telescopes. Look at that one.
that's wild, isn't it?
That one looks like the counterweight's up high.
Yeah, so they've right, exactly. So, but I guess you can use it that way.
Yeah, you don't. It looks like
Except
you
you
don't
don't
need
want to
to
turn
worry
this.
about
You don't turn this in
bringing.
declination because you'll bang into the
Yeah, you can only
support.
go so far. That's true.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here.
Speaking of banging telescopes, I uh, I've been talking to the people at Yerkes Observatory, and it reminded me of when Dan Kaler took me into the 40-inch refractor, and I'm looking at it's beautiful. Well, it's an old wooden floor, anyways, and there's a whole story about the wooden floor and how it caved in on itself like just a
Oh
few
man.
days before the inauguration of that telescope. If they'd had 100 people standing on that floor, it would have been chaos. Because it's a long ways down into the basement. But the whole floor in this massive around this massive refractor raises up and down. But I saw like these two sizable divots in the floor, and I asked what that was all about, and apparently Carl Sagan was showing someone how you could physically move the telescope with, from the back, and then what you were supposed to do is run up the whatever 40 feet or 50 feet or whatever it is to the other end of the telescope to catch it. And
Oh
apparently
man.
he didn't catch it. And this thing went bang
Oh no.
hit the floor. Thank God the objective didn't break or something, because that might have been the end of Carl Sagan's. He got his doctoral degree on that telescope. So
Here's a Herschel's telescope mount.
yeah,
It's kind of like
yeah,
a
they're pushing the
Dobsonian.
whole
It's kind of like
thing.
a Dobsonian mount, except it's
Yeah,
got
they
a
rotate this whole contraption to get azimuth adjustments, and then you
right.
got the platform where the astronomers he sees looking down into the tube. So that's a front view telescope. No, I don't know if they're using an eyepiece or not, but you could just see the image focus in
Yeah,
the air.
right. So it's so that the light comes in and then reflects back to his eyepiece that's right here.
If he's using an eyepiece, I don't know.
Yeah, right. So that's that. Let me show you this interesting mount. Okay, this is like the way a gyroscope is mounted. It's called an azimuth mount.
Oh, is that a Baker nun? It is a Baker nun.
Yeah, so you've got pivot this way on this
Okay.
axis,
Okay.
which is azimuth, and then you got the other azimuth axis right here along this way. So you can tilt it back and forth and side to side. That's called an azimuth mount. And then they also have a 3-axis mount. So it's got these 2 axes on that plane, and then it's got the rotational axis on the bottom. So you can rotate the telescope around this, around the base also.
Yeah, these were like zero point 0.9 f ratio
Oh
telescopes,
yeah.
something really wide field, really fast. I think they were designed to look for satellites or something.
Yeah. They track satellites. So that's an interesting mount. That here's a what is this one? I don't know if this is gonna get any
There's
bigger.
also an offset, and I think that's one of them right there.
Yeah,
You
this is
see
an
how that
offset.
counterweight is offset
Yeah.
like that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Japanese mount manufacturer um, that makes offset mounts. Not very many of them are sold, but they look cool.
See, here's what else do we have? That's pretty sad that Wikipedia only has this little bit of information about telescope mounts. Not very
Well,
much.
Wikipedia is built by contributors like you, Jerry.
Yeah, I know. Well, I
Your
need
spare
to.
time, you can add more.
Yeah, I know. Uh, here's a uh, here's a yoke mount. Um, like the 200-inch.
Mm-hmm.
That's another kind of that English yoke.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a Porter mount, is what it
A
is.
Porter. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of a
Russ, Russ,
variation.
Russell Porter designed it.
It's a variation because it's driven from the top bearing, not from the
Yeah.
bottom bearing. That's the rotation. That's
And
the motor drive.
that floats on oil pads.
Mm-hmm. What else do we have here?
Or hydraulic fluid, maybe. Can't recall.
So
Yeah,
I
there's
guess a
lots of
horse.
ways to skin a cat here.
Yep. So you got open fork mount. You got English or yoke mount. And you got horseshoe mount. That's a horse. I guess called a horseshoe mount.
Mm-hmm.
Cross axis mount. What is that?
Cross axis.
Like a plus sign. I don't know what that is. They don't have
Huh.
a picture of one, I don't think.
Hmm.
Oh, here's one right here. That's interesting. That's kind of like an English yoke.
Yeah. How about a Springfield mount?
Let's see. Get back to my search tool. What do you call it? What was it?
Springfield.
Springfield. shopping.
You might have to put telescope mount or something.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You see,
The very
is that
top. At the very
very
top.
top? This one right here?
That's one.
That's wild.
Isn't that weird?
Huh.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one before.
Mm-hmm.
See if there's another. There's a lot of
I guess there's a
other stuff.
Springfield Armory or something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. We'll probably
Yeah.
get banned now.
Yeah. Oh, look at that one on the right. There you go.
Yeah,
Classic telescopes. Now, I think this
pretty
makes it so
fancy.
that the eyepiece stays stationary,
Oh yeah. That's what it is. That's exactly
right?
right. That's exactly right. That's
And
really cool.
so,
You can mount some big instruments on a telescope that way
you
because they're
could.
stationary.
You sure could. So
Oh, there's another one. There's another one.
if you
I
were
just thought of.
disabled, that would be, you know.
That's similar to the.
Oh, it's Nasmyth. Uh-huh.
I don't know if I spelled it right, if it was a Z or not.
I think it's Nasmyth.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
there you go.
So a
Look at that
Nasmyth
one.
mount. Where's a good one to look at here?
That CNC telescope looks
Oh,
cool.
here we go. Right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I think
That's a plane wave.
Planewave's making one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the light comes down and reflects off the primary, the secondary, then a tertiary mirror. It's called a tertiary mirror that reflects it out just like a or like a Newtonian
Oh, so it's
comes
more
out the
like
side.
Nasmyth focus, I guess, is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that way you can mount a big instrument here on this side of the
Good.
mount.
Very heavy camera.
Yeah. Those are neat.
Yeah, those mounts are cool too.
All right. Well, I think we've gone through quite a few different mounts and stuff. Talk about mounts.
Yeah. There'll be a test later.
Yeah. How many different mounts can you name? I'm sure there's 50 of them. Maybe that ought to be a contest. Whoever gets the most number of mounts can wins a prize or something.
Right. How about the bowling ball mount?
Oh yeah,
There's those.
right. In the
Trackball mount.
70s,
There's one of
in the
them.
70s, when Edmund Scientific had a bowling ball little Richfield telescope
Yeah.
that you could have in your lap and sit down on the grass and look through it.
Right. Yeah.
I remember those.
And then Bushnell copied the design, almost exactly copied it, and then people started calling it the bong scope. So
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah, it kind
it
of
looked
looks
like a
like that.
bong.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know what a bong is, then never mind.
What are you talking about, Scott?
I don't
what
know.
what is that term?
I
How
don't
do you
know.
spell that?
Yeah. Uh, it starts with a Z, F, H, W, and those letters are all silent.
Oh yeah, right.
And then BONG. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
I wanted to show one last thing.
Okay.
Let me
All right.
just
One last
to
thing.
give people an idea
All right.
of. I got a
One
new
last thing.
webcam for my desk to show when
Part of
I'm
the
doing
show where
work.
we get to one last thing.
Yeah. So my share. Uh, so this is just a quick view overhead of my workbench when I'm working on stuff. You see my hand.
Well, it looks more cleaned up than yesterday.
I'm actually doing some testing for new firmware that I've been working on the last month. And I've got these different, so I've got the main, this is the standard, I don't know why, it's overexposed or something. See, there's some glossy stuff on my hand. I don't know what's overexposed, but these are actually some secret prototypes
That's
of
right.
the IXOS 100 and board with some other new stuff on it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna get into right now, but I'm testing prototypes and testing new firmware. So I just thought it was neat to
Yeah,
be able to
it's
share.
cool.
So maybe in the future I'll go over some stuff when we go to demonstrate some things.
Sure.
I'll be able to show the lights on the box and other things that are going on with along with the software configurations and things like that.
Right. Yep. Well, great. All right. So, uh, Pekka is um, discussing the. Scott, I just emailed you a capture clip I got of. Oh, this is from Marco. All right. Let's see what we got here.
I do have one other thing to bring up after you.
One last thing.
One last thing.
Okay.
You
All right.
you're the one that brought it up yesterday.
Did I?
Uh-huh. On your other program.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did. Let's see. Mark Ellingson. Jupiter in daytime. Okay, so this is a video. Let me download it. It's downloading.
I wonder if you can see the moons, the Galilean moons.
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
It's kind of cool to get this stuff in real time. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move that over to my folder. And we will move that over here. And it's just called video. We're going to call it Jupiter video. There we go. Let me make another little scene here. I'm always making a scene.
Oh, it's a different camera view.
Yeah. Hold on. That's my Mac doing that.
Yeah.
Let's bring in the source. And there we go. There it is. I'm going to open it.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Here, I'll share my screen so they get a better view. Yeah, so this is what Jupiter. I think it was like, I mean, it's 5 o'clock here, so he probably took this at some time between 2:30 and 3 p.m. out there on the West Coast. So here
Oh,
we are.
you just shared it. So it's
Yeah, but you can see some detail in
yeah,
Jupiter.
you can see the line, the bands
Yep.
a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you zoom out a little bit, you can see Saturn off to the side there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like it's about 15 arc minutes
Yeah.
field of view or something like that.
Yeah, it's a 22-second video. But you can see the effects of atmospheric seeing as well.
Not too bad though.
Yeah, he could sharpen that up. Whenever
Yeah.
you get that, you can sharpen it up by making a mask over the front of your telescope and taking the aperture down.
Yeah, right.
And that does work. You may have to increase your exposure time, which is the other part that you might be fighting against. But uh, you know, but that's it.
Cool.
That is it. Any other last things?
Yeah, just
Oh,
I just wanted
Alpo.
the ALPO.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
not the dog
been
food.
Huh?
Not the dog food.
No. That's why I always say ALPO.
ALPO. That's right.
Yeah, it's the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. I've been working on this for over a year to get this to happen, but so we've created a new exoplanet section for the ALPO, and this will be the first. This is the first time that they've created a section that's outside the solar system, basically objects that are outside the solar system. So it's kind of cool
Mm-hmm.
to be involved with that, and I really feel humbled that they asked me to be the first coordinator for the section, which is really cool. So I just wanted to mention it. And there's a link to a podcast I did with Tim Robertson yes last week. He posted it yesterday. I think I put it on the Zoom chat, the link to it, the second link there.
Okay.
And if you share that, you can listen to me talk about the section and what we're going to be doing and
Oh yeah.
everything.
Let me share that. Let me get it.
And if
You
anybody's
were,
interested in learning how to image or learning how to observe exoplanet transits, that's what this section's all about for members. I'm going to be developing materials, and we're going to have a monthly newsletter to talk about exoplanets. And there's a lot of neat things that are going to be going on with this new section over the next year. And I hope to get it rolled out the first quarter of next year. And but you click on that podcast. It's about an hour discussion about what it's about.
yeah.
Um,
Here we go. Come on. Go. Go, go. There we go. Marco says Saturn won't fit in the video um, uh, field of view yet, but it
yeah.
can fit in the full resolution image. I'm
Oh,
at 0.67 degrees by 0.46 degrees in the ASI 294 MC with 1600 millimeters of focal length.
oh, good.
Yeah. And then in other news, uh, David Kipping, gentleman that you
Yes.
were talking about,
Right.
he is he's working on. I mean, while you got Tess working on exoplanets, he's working on exomoons, moons around exoplanets. So
Right.
explain to the audience how he finds them.
Well, I have to remember, I just read that paper this the other day. So exomoons are very difficult, you can imagine, compared to exoplanets, right?
Right?
Uh, so you've got to use an indirect method of measuring, or actually just detecting if there's an exomoon. That's really at the point we're at right now, is just detecting them. And so he's developed a method, a statistical method to do that. So just to refresh everybody's memory, an exoplanet measurement, you just what looks for the dimming of the light in front of the star. It's like a Venus transit, and you look for the light to dim just a slight amount, and it's less than it's less than 10 millimags, or less than 1% dip in the light. It's probably like a half a percent dip in the light. It's very difficult to measure. But you can do it. There's techniques developed for it, and that's one of the things I'm going to be getting into with the new section in the ALPO. But what you do, you can gather all kinds of information. Once you've measured this light curve, you can do measurements on the actual light curve and determine a lot of things like the orbital inclination. You can determine the midpoint time of the transit, which helps you to determine the uh, the orbital period of the exoplanet, how
Yeah.
long it takes to go around the star,
Yeah.
very precisely. And then you can determine the speed of the planet going across the face of the star, right? So you can tell how fast it's moving
Mm-hmm.
across the face of the star. Once you know the period and the time of the transit, what's the ingress and the egress, you can determine that. So when you're looking for an exomoon, you basically look for changes in those values. So when an exomoon goes around an exoplanet, right, it's sitting there and it causes the exoplanet to wobble, just like a binary star. The
Oh yeah,
binary
because it's
stars,
gonna
they wobble,
divided
right?
by the. Okay.
So you're looking for a wobble in the exoplanet,
Now, how
okay? And
can
the
you
way you
do
see
that?
this wobble is a difference in time between for the ingress and egress time. So the time it takes to cross the face of the star could be slower or faster because it's either slowing down as the planet is wobbling, or it could be speeding up as the planet's wobbling, right? in its orbit.
But my question, well, for this to come into somewhat clarity for me, so do they predict what what this exoplanet should cross based off of its mass or something,
It's just
or
based off of the measurements. So you take a lot of different observations and you come up with a midpoint time on the
okay,
measurements, right? And then from the midpoint time, you calculate what the orbital period is. And right now they just kind of average it. So the average orbital period is this, okay?
okay,
And you look for changes in this average orbital period is what you're looking for.
oh wow, okay.
So it's that kind of a measurement. It's a statistical
I guess
measurement.
the
It's
more
not a
measurements they get, the better the average orbital period value
right.
becomes, and then you can.
Right. Now you've got a precise value to look for compared to what the actual value is. And
I
then you
see.
have to improve the precision.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to improve the precision of your time. Okay.
Right.
Now that's where you have to,
That
that's
must
where
be
you
the
start to
trick.
detect, that's
Yeah.
where you start to detect the exomoons.
Huh.
The other thing that you detect, it's not just that midpoint time. That's a part of it. The other part is the period of the length of the time, the ingress and egress period. That's either going to be faster or slower because as it wobbles, of course, it's going to be you could be slowing down. It's kind of just like retrograde. You know how when we pass Mars and it retrogrades and it slows down?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same kind of thing.
Hmm.
The wobble causes the planet to slow down and speed up
Hmm.
in the
Well, is
orbit.
there any kind of Doppler effect or anything like that?
There
That's
is a Doppler. If you could measure the spectrum very precisely of the planet, you would be able to see a Doppler shift in its motion.
interesting.
Now, the problem is not in this regard because this would be moving parallel or across our face instead of in and out. So we measure Doppler shift going away and to us, right?
Yeah.
That's 90 degrees to the axis that we're measuring. So you would never see a Doppler shift going this way. You'd only see one going this way. Uh,
Shifting blue or red
all
somehow.
right. So that doesn't apply to this kind of measurement.
I see. Interesting. Well, David Kipping is setting a tentative
So did he respond
time.
to you? I didn't see.
Yeah, yeah. He's going to
Oh, great.
come on with us tentatively Friday, January the 29th. So that will
Oh,
be during one of these programs, and you know, no matter what program it would be on, I would have you on, Jerry, to interact with him because um, I think it would be a lot of fun. So
yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah.
That's
So, anyways, I posted in chat a link to David Kipping's article in Nature magazine about you know, detecting exomoons. So
cool.
it's amazing what we're ferreting out. You know,
Well, this is
out of the
something that,
universe. It's crazy. You know.
yeah, I want to see. That's of course, I took that idea and said, oh, maybe I can do this, but I don't know. It may be just too small of a measurement. I don't have enough
Maybe you
precision,
could. Maybe you could.
but it's a goal, to try to ferret out this information.
Right.
It's like a treasure hunt.
Yes, that's right. And it's all treasure. That's right. Okay. Well, I think we're going to take one more look at Jupiter in the daytime. I want to thank everybody for watching, and it's cool to get a quick contribution. And let's see. Aaron Stewart's comment. He's replying to Pekka because Pekka was commenting how expensive it is to get to import telescopes from the United States into other countries. And when you have value added tax and import duty and shipping and insurance and all of that stuff, it can be very, very expensive. So it's for that reason that it's always, if you can, to work with a local distributor, in your country, because they deal with all of that stuff. It does make the equipment more expensive. We know. So
It's almost like you said, worth it to take a trip, not right now maybe, but fly over to the US, buy equipment and fly back, bring it with you.
bring it with you, but
Probably
you
could
need
be
to go
cheaper.
buy it, go to a star party, enjoy, go to Winter Star Party or the Grand Canyon Star Party or something really cool like that. and then by that time the product's used and yours, and so and it's often much easier to get it in that way. So, but not everybody can do it.
Right. Yeah, it's
But if
still
you're going to spend the
expensive.
money anyways,
Right. You might as well get a
you
vacation
might
out
as
of it.
well think about doing something like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But when a distributor brings in the product, they do get breaks because they're getting breaks on. They'll bring in a whole container load or something, and of course the shipping is a lot less expensive. It doesn't cut back though on import duty and their VAT system though. So, but that's part of it. That's the benefit of living in the country you're living in. Somehow it's all paid for by taxes. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to thank you all for watching tonight, and we will see you tomorrow with First Light Chronicles. And in the meantime, keep looking up.